Okay, so here we are back at our drawing. We're going to set up dimensioning. And in this case, I'm pretty much going to follow exactly what's being done in the book, because in the book, you're actually shown how to set up a new dimension style. And we haven't done that in class yet, so I'd like you to go ahead and do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into format, view. No, sorry, it is format. Format, dimension style. And now we're going to choose a new dimension style. We have been in these dimension styles before. We're going to make a new one. So we're going to choose new. Our new style, we're going to name it mechanical. We're going to start with our standard. We're going to use it for all dimensions. We're going to type continue. And now we open up the new dimension style. So we're going to go over to primary units. And in primary units, you can see we can choose different formats. We can choose decimal, we can choose scientific, engineering, architectural, fractional, and Windows Desktop, which honestly I have no idea what that is. We're going to choose fractional. Oh, and I guess if we choose it, we can see. So what is... Okay, so I don't know what the difference is between Windows Desktop and decimal. But anyway, we're going to choose fractional. And fractional, if you look at... Fractional is very similar, but it's not quite the same as architectural. We switch between the two. Architectural shows a foot mark, where fractional does not. And a fractional assumes inches, where architectural assumes feet. Okay, so anyway, our precision is going to be 1/16. Our fractional format is horizontal, so we could set up horizontal, diagonal, not stacked at all. Decimal separator, we don't change at all. Under fit, we have scale. We want to use an overall scale of 1. So you could actually change the scale. For instance, you could scale a drawing and give a scale of 2 or a scale of 1/2. We're going to use a scale of 1. Under text, we can set text height and text size. And this is something generally you need to do, especially when you build, for instance, an architectural drawing. So if I were doing a drawing of a house, where I might have a dimension of on one side of 30 or 40 feet, if my text height was 0.18 inches, well, then you probably wouldn't be able to read any of the text. So you would have to change that. You might have to make it as much as a couple of inches. And the reason you would have to do that is because your drawing is going to be scaled. So your drawing is going to be scaled down once you print it. You're not going to print a drawing on a 40-foot sheet of paper. Anyway, they want to use a text height of 0.125. So we'll update that to 0.125. In symbols and arrows, they want to change the arrow size to 0.125, and we'll do that. Now, someone's work that I was looking at in the 10391 drawing had some of these changed for some reason. Instead of arrowheads, and again, different formats get used by different groups. For instance, architects use architectural ticks for dimensions. And it's a little tough to see here, but you see the little line that crosses? That's an architectural tick. Generally, in mechanical drawings, arrows are used. And closed versus blank or open doesn't really matter much. Some of these, I haven't seen most of these, but I'm sure there are some specific fields that may use one versus the other. The architectural is the big one, but generally it's mostly arrows. Otherwise, a couple probably get used in a certain specific instance. Now I am going to change to the line for the center mark because we will need to go back and adjust that. And then I'm going to change the line size here also to 0.125. And then I'm going to hit OK. Now, it's very important that once you do this, you make sure that you set the new layer that you created as the current layer. Because if you don't, it may not be updated. So we're going to set that new layer as the current layer. From there, we already know how to do center marks. Now, we don't want to choose a center mark here. We want to choose a center mark on the outer layer. And hopefully you haven't hit the button already because you may not have turned on your center layer. In which case you can undo. Remember, you can type undo here, or you can come up here and hit the back arrow if you need to. So make sure you're on the center layer, hit your center mark, and oh, what happened to my center layer? Hello. I just changed. All right. I'm on my center layer. I hit my center mark. I think I may have hit that button twice, so I actually ended up turning it off. I'm hitting the wrong button. Sorry about that. So what I was doing is I was actually hitting the snap to the center of a circle instead of the center mark button. I do apologize about that. So this is, of course, the center mark, the one with the plus sign in the middle, not the one with the little square. And there's our center mark. And then we need to add a center mark here. Of course, the center mark will come out small. Click. And we click. All right, so that gives us our two center marks. Now we need to start adding our dimensions. So generally, most of our dimensions are going to be linear dimensions. And again, if we did this right, we built our drawing right, all our dimensions should come out correct. Reminder, again, make sure you turn your dimensions on. And in fact, I'm going to do this wrong just to, again, remind you how to correct it. I'm going to do the first one in center layer. So here, I click here, and I pull a dimension down. To change it, I can simply click on the dimension, go to Quick Properties, and I don't see they're on Quick Properties. Okay, so let's Dun, 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 dun. It's only showing rotated dimension for some reason. So I might have to change my quick properties. I'm not going to do that now in the middle of this video. Discard the changes. So I will open up that quick properties. Where did properties go? There. Okay. My properties window is over here. Sorry. All right. So here's my properties window. So in my properties window, and this is just a reminder, we should never change color. We should always change layer when we make a mistake. So the layer needs to be changed to dimension. We should not, the color should always change by layer. That will prevent issues. Okay, so there we have our dimension is corrected. It's on the correct layer now. We're going to go back to our dimension layer. We're going to continue on with dimensions. I'm going to put this dimension in here, our 1.5 inches. We're going to come down here, 5 3/4 inches. Come up to the top. Now, when you're doing the dimension here at the top, it's very important that you actually click over here, not say in the middle of this radius or on that side of the radius. If you click on this side of the radius, you're going to get a much different dimension. We need to click over here and then up here and then pull it up so we get our 1/2 inch. And then we can come back down over here, click there, and we click here. You shouldn't come down and click here. The idea of a dimension is, as much as possible, it shouldn't cross drawing lines. So see, when I pull this out, none of these dimensions actually hit. They come very close, but they don't cross. There are certain times when you don't have any choice. Obviously, when we come over here and we put in the location of this circle or this hole, well, obviously it has to cross dimension lines because that's in the middle of the part. But especially on outside dimensions, there's no reason for you to do that. Okay, so we're going to add a dimension again from the center here to there. Pull it up. And then we're going to add another one from the center here to there. We pull it up. And again, the wider dimensions, the longer dimensions should always go on the outside. And then finally, a dimension from here to there, 4 and okay, so if you take a look at that, it doesn't, I did not get the dimension in the right spot. I come back down. Four and a half. There we go. That's right now. All right. They put that dimension in. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. You would think that there should be a dimension for the top of the drawing to here, but there isn't because we've specified it only as the 30-degree angle. Now, you could actually figure it out if you want, because you know the radius of, actually, do you know, you don't actually know the radius. Go back to the original drawing, let's see. We do know the complete outer radius, so you could actually figure it out. So you wouldn't have to necessarily know to put in that 30-degree angle that I did. But either way, you don't need to specify that. Well, all you need to do is actually put in an angular dimension. And the angular dimension is shown right here. And what we do is we can click on this. And here, but I think we need to add a line in order to add I'm going to stop the video to check this.